Hello, you kick off the Sunday's edition of QPVN English News Bulletin with Melinchi and the headlines. Vietnam welcomes military delegations from China, Laos and Cambodia for rehearsals. Overseas Vietnamese proudly return home for national celebration. Japan prioritizes Vietnam in strengthening relations with Southeast Asia. On April 26 in Dong Nai Province, the Central State Committee on Celebration of Major Holidays and Historical Events of the country in the 2023-2025 period sent a delegation led by head of the Party Central Committee's Commission for Information, Education and Mass Mobilization, Nguyễn Trọng Nghĩa, to encourage and present gifts to the parade participants in the celebration of the 50th anniversary of the liberation of the South and National Reunification Day. After more than 4 months of training, despite the unfavorable weather conditions, units within Division 309, Military Region 7, and the Southern Mobile Police Regiment of Ministry of Public Security have upheld the high sense of determination to follow the set plan, performing accurate, smooth, and beautiful movements. Head of the Party Central Committee's Commission for Information, Education, and Mass Mobilization, Nguyễn Trọng Nghĩa, praised and asked that the forces to continue promoting the achieved results to successfully complete the assignments. On April 26, as part of the activities marking the 50th anniversary of the liberation of the South and National Reunification Day and the 50th anniversary of the liberation of Bà Rịa Vũng Tàu Province, a high-level delegation of party and state leaders led by General Phan Văn Giang, Minister of National Defense, alongside the officials of Bà Rịa Vũng Tàu, offered incense and flowers in solemn tribute to hero of the People's Armed Forces and martyr Võ Thị Sáu. The ceremony took place at the new Võ Thị Sáu Heroic Memorial Park and Memorial House in Đất Đỏ Township, Long Đất District, Bà Rịa Vũng Tàu Province. In an atmosphere filled with reverence and emotion, delegates honored the legacy of Võ Thị Sáu, whose unwavering bravery and ultimate sacrifice have become a symbol of patriotic spirit and youthful heroism. Her fearless stance before the enemy at Han Dương Prison, Côn Đảo, remains etched in the nation's collective memory, an image of courage that both terrified and commanded the respect of her captors. President Ho Chi Minh once praised her with golden words: "Lived heroically, died gloriously." The memorial site, situated at the Đất Đỏ crossroads in Phước Long Thọ Coming, stands not only as a tribute to her indomitable spirit, but also as a place for future generations to learn from her legacy. Following the inauguration, General Phan Văn Giang and the delegation visited and extended heartfelt greetings to heroic Vietnamese mothers Trần Thị Lưỡng and Trần Thị Đường in Long Phước Coming and Hòa Long Coming of Bà Rịa City. On April 26, General Nguyễn Tân Cương, Chief of the General Staff of the Vietnam People's Army and Double Minister of National Defense, inspected the combat readiness mission in the build-up to the celebration of the 50th anniversary of the liberation of the South and National Reunification Day in Ho Chi Minh City. To date, the combat readiness plan to ensure the safety of the celebration has been finalized by functional forces, including the on-duty regulation, practice of combat plans, inspection, control, and prevention of illegal entry and exit along the border. Dissemination work has been promoted, creating a widespread influence on the people and foreign tourists. The parade participants have undergone serious training and achieved commendable results. Praising such comprehensive efforts of the relevant forces, General Nguyễn Tân Cương asked the units to strictly maintain troops on duty at key locations, strengthen coordination and interoperability between forces inside and outside the military, and develop specific plans when situations occur. At the morning of April the 26th, Senior Lieutenant General Nguyễn Văn Nghĩa, Double Chief of the General Staff of the Vietnam People's Army, met military delegations from China, Laos, and Cambodia who were taking part in parades to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the liberation of the South and National Reunification Day. At the invitation of Vietnam's Ministry of National Defense, the three delegations arrived in Ho Chi Minh City to join in joint training and rehearsals. The visiting units were warmly received, with their accommodations and logistical needs fully arranged and convenient training grounds provided. General Nghĩa extended his sincere gratitude to the foreign delegations, highlighting that their participation reflects the deep solidarity and friendship between Vietnam and these nations. Later that morning, Senior Lieutenant General Nguyễn Văn Nghĩa visited the North Timor Militia Formation of Military Reason 4 and the South Timor Guerrilla Formation of Military Reason 7, offering encouragement and support for their continued efforts. Celebrating Vietnam's National Reunification Day on April 30th, many overseas Vietnamese have made their way back home to witness this historic occasion firsthand. Their presence is a heartfelt reminder of the unbreakable bond between those living abroad and their homeland, a testament to the enduring strength of national unity. After the country's reunification, a young Do Văn Dũng was sent to Japan with the mission to learn and return to rebuild the nation's economy after the war. Near 5 decades later, he stands among the pioneers fostering economic ties between Vietnam and Japan.
Sau 50 năm thì hoàn toàn khác hẳn.
After 50 years, everything is so different. I'm overwhelmed with pride. Our city has rural spaces and modern. Whatever the world has, we have it too. It brings me immense joy. Ho Chi Minh City also honored 50 outstanding overseas Vietnamese who have contributed to the city's growth in science, technology, business, and culture since 1975. Ho Chi Minh City continues to lead the country's economy. We are proud that in this historic April 2025, Korean investment here is growing strong. We stand ready to a bridge for the next chapter of the city's development. Today, about 6 million Vietnamese live, work, and study in 130 countries and territories. The contributions are helping drive Ho Chi Minh City and Vietnam into a new era of prosperity and global integration. The victory on April 30th, 1975 is the victory of not only the Vietnamese people, but also peace-loving people around the world. 50 years have gone by, but the memories of that day remain intact in the minds of international friends, especially those who shared in the celebrative atmosphere. One of them is Alicia Cordrea, director of the Asia Department, Cuban Institute of Friendship with the Peoples, ICAP for short, who was then a student at the Vietnamese Language Faculty of the University of Hanoi. Black and white photos, faded letters, and old souvenirs seem to come to life when the words Vietnam are mentioned. Old Alicia Cordrea shared with a gentle smile that every time talking about Vietnam, her heart beats fast. In late April 1975, news about the lightning speed attack was broadcast continuously, interspersed with the majestic melodies of marching to Saigon and liberating the South. Alicia clearly remembers the eyes of the Vietnamese students, radiant with faith and complex emotions of 30 years of the country's separation. The entire latter hall burst into tears of joy that was filled with tight hugs. Lecturers and students gathered not to talk about anything, but the spirit, the Vietnamese one, the Vietnamese people are one. Inspired by that, students from Cuba, the former Soviet Union, Bulgaria, Poland, Romania, Japan, and other countries held hands and danced. They cheered in their own languages and in Vietnamese, "Long live Vietnam, long live Ho Chi Minh," and the victory was of their own. But perhaps the most unforgettable memory for her was when the crowd took to the streets with musical instruments. Vietnam is my second home, the country where I learned to become who I am today. I have devoted my whole life and career to cultivating this friendship. I carry my love for Vietnam in my daily work as RCAP, as well as when I took on the position of Executive Secretary of the Cuba-Vietnam Friendship Association. The Cuba-Vietnam solidarity continues to be written with new stories, and there are always people like Alicia with unsung contributions to connecting hearts halfway around the world. On April the 26th, the Vietnam People's Army contingent taking part in Russia's upcoming Victory Day parade entered their second day of rehearsals under harsh weather conditions, despite temperatures hovering around 2 degrees Celsius by mid-morning and dropping to 0 degrees Celsius later in the day. Training continued with precision and determination. At 9 a.m. sharp, the Vietnamese unit began their scheduled drills with warm-up exercises amid light snowfall and gusty winds. Though the sun briefly emerged, the cold remained biting. Nevertheless, the troops maintained their focus and discipline throughout the session. The morning training runs from 9 to 11:30 a.m. Moscow time, monitoring the schedule for the official parade on the Red Square set for May the 9th. Also rehearsing on the same day were military contingents from China, Laos, and Myanmar stationed at the accommodation facilities arranged by the Russian host. Its passing encounter between delegation was marked by gestures of camaraderie and mutual respect, highlighting the spirit of international solidarity at the event. Coming up next, Japan prioritized Vietnam in strengthening relations with Southeast Asia. Bestway launched $300 million factory project in Cần. Japanese Prime Minister Ishiba Shigeru is paying a 3-day visit to Vietnam from April the 27th to the 29th. Currently, the Japanese National Diet is organizing its regular session from January to July. During this period, it is not easy for lawmakers to travel abroad. However, Prime Minister Ishiba decided to take advantage of the break during the Golden Week to carry out diplomatic activities and also carefully thought through this choice of destination. After thorough consideration, he decided to choose Vietnam as his first destination, as the Southeast Asian country is a very important partner of Japan. According to the Japan-Vietnam Friendship Parliamentarian Union, at this time, that the two countries opened their hearts and deepened trust, friendship and cooperation has become more important than ever. The lawmaker expressed her belief that during this trip, the two countries' leaders will exchange views and work towards the organization of more frequent and continuous high-level exchanges, even setting up a regular schedule for bilateral high-level meetings. This will greatly contributing to elevating the relationship between the two countries to a new height. Bestway Group has officially launched construction of its second factory in Vietnam, a $300 million project located in the Vietnam-Singapore Industrial Park in Cần. Covering more than 28 hectares, the new facility will specialize in manufacturing recreational and sports products for global export. Construction is set to begin in the third quarter of this year, with operations expected by the end of next year. The project embraces a green development model, integrating advanced technologies in a model logistics system. Once operational, the factory is expected to generate over 5,000 direct jobs for the local workforce and bring in an estimated $500 million in annual revenue. This marks Bestway's second major investment in Vietnam, following its first factory in Tiên Sang province. It is the end of the latest news bulletin today. You want to watch the news again at QPVN.vn. For now, goodbye and see you next time.